A long time ago, down in Guadalcanal, there was a wild stretch of coastline they called the Weather Coast. It went on for about 150 kilometers, and it was made up of a bunch of little villages. And these weren't your ordinary villages. Their inhabitants were fierce head-hunting cannibals who struck fear into the hearts of neighboring Solomon Islands. During this era, giants still roamed the heart of Guadalcanal, sharing the land with a thriving human population. Occasionally, these colossal beings would cross paths with the daring souls of the Weather Coast, leading to encounters that would become legendary. Reports of a gang of man-eating giants terrorizing the eastern Weather Coast reached the paramount chief. While it wasn't unusual to come across a lone rogue giant from time to time, witnessing a group of 5 of them teaming up was a whole different story. Initially, the attacks were scattered along the coastline, primarily in the eastern villages. As time passed, these murderous giants began to strike further and further west. These giants relentlessly stalked coastal villagers, snatching people away and sometimes even devouring their victims alive, leaving the villagers terrified and in a state of perpetual dread. Villagers suffered heavy losses as their warrior hunting parties failed mission after mission. Fear gripped the entire coastline. It seemed that nowhere and no one was safe from these giants. The paramount chief grew frustrated with his men's failed attempts to stop the bloodshed. So he called a meeting of all the Weather Coast village chiefs. The paramount chief had a plan to motivate his people to take down the giant. He offered his beautiful daughter, Gina's, hand in marriage and half of his prized pigs as a reward for the warrior who could bring back the giant's head. While Gina had many suitors among the warriors, her father had not yet consented to any of their proposals. This was the perfect time to find her a noble husband. Word of the meeting quickly spread, and the people began placing their bets on their favorite warriors. The highest bets were placed on the men who had proven their bravery in the past, by collecting numerous skulls in battle. And then there was Yuxlae. While Yuxlae hailed from a respected warrior family, he was kind of known to have 2 left feet, so he was stuck to the mundane tasks, like tending gardens and gathering firewood. Yuxlae had secretly admired Gina, but due to his low social status, he had never dared to pursue her. But now that the paramount chief offered his daughter's hand in marriage, Yuxlae saw a glimmer of hope. During one of the ceremonial dances, Yuxlae boldly went up to the paramount chief and told him that he would be the one to slay the giants and he would soon have his daughter. The paramount chief, sitting on his throne, responded by striking Yuxlae on the head with his staff, completely dismissing him and ordering him to leave. Yuxlae left, embarrassed and angry. As he left, he could hear the laughter of the townspeople, mocking his name. Frustrated by their ridicule, Yuxlae wanted to prove them wrong and announced that he would go after the giants. Before you know it, weeks had gone by, and only a few warriors had returned, with terrifying tales of near-death encounters. Reports from other villages painted a grim picture of the continued attacks and killings by the giants. He approached the paramount chief with his hunting gear and declared his intent to kill the giants and claim his reward. The paramount chief, still skeptical, sarcastically told Yuxlae to go ahead, and that is exactly what Yuxlae did. On Guadalcanal, there is a rare species of plant that has an anesthesia-like effect if consumed. The juices from this crushed root are mixed into a solution with finely crushed particles of coral lime and then dried into a powder. The fine powder is then gently blown from the palm of the hand into the air currents, which takes it into the airways of an unsuspecting recipient. Yuxlae's plan was to use this powder to subdue the 5 giants. He cautiously made his way into the depths of the tropical rainforest, where he made his camp and set about looking for the anesthetic plant. He removed their roots and took them back with him to the safety of his camp. Over a period of a few days, he made a strong concoction of anesthetic powder. Armed with his new weapon, he made his way to the area where the giants were last seen. He knew the giants had a keen sense of smell, so to avoid detection, he only traveled deep in the mountains, carefully positioning himself downwind of the sea breeze. He stumbled across a cave littered with human remains. Realizing it was one of the giants' lairs, Yuxlae positioned himself in a nearby tree, waiting for the giants to return. One afternoon, as he was snoozing on his tree perch, the sound of grunting and snorting from one of the giants literally woke him up. He quickly sat up, straining to catch a glimpse of one of these beasts. His heart felt like it was about to beat out of its chest, and that's when he saw them. He was paralyzed by fear as he watched the 5 giants devour a recent kill. Yuxlae held his breath, terrified one might hear him if he even dared to breathe. He sat completely still until he noticed the giants started to head back into the cave. He knew that they would eventually fall asleep, and then he would take his shot. He waited patiently until he was sure that they were in a deep sleep state. Then he quietly descended from the tree and began to creep to the cave entrance. His heart was pounding as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a bottle of powerful anesthetic powder, his secret weapon. All he had to do was get enough in their faces while managing to not get a single flake near his, and then they would be knocked out cold. He tiptoed through the cave, dispersing the powder between the giants until it was completely gone. He anxiously watched as their breaths got deeper and deeper, and then non-existent. After ensuring that the giants were completely under its effect, he threw a giant stone at one of their heads. He winced, waiting for an angry growl, but there was only silence. He couldn't believe it. It actually worked. As Yuxlae walked back into the village, a sense of triumph and satisfaction radiated from him. The villagers couldn't believe their eyes. Many had thought he was a goner for sure. Some even put bets on it. And yet, there he was, standing tall with an air of accomplishment. He approached the paramount chief, who had doubted him from the beginning. A hushed silence fell over everyone. Yuxlae, with a confident grin, spoke up. "Chief, I did it. I conquered the giants, and their heads are waiting by the caves. Go look for yourself." The chief's initial reaction was to laugh, thinking that Yuxlae was simply spinning a tall tale. However, as he looked closer, his laughter faded. He noticed the unmistakable stains of dried blood on Yuxlae's clothes. The village erupted into a mixture of shock and awe. Yuxlae had accomplished what nobody else could. The once dismissed young man had returned a hero, and his triumph over the giants would be celebrated for generations to come. The paramount chief could no longer deny the honor and the rewards he had promised, and the villagers cheered in recognition of his great bravery. And so, Yuxlae's name became one spoken of with courage and resilience, proving that sometimes it's the most unexpected heroes who rise to the occasion and make history. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to show some love by liking it. And if you want to stay updated with all the exciting new content, make sure to follow my page and hit that notification bell.